Right then, let's have a look at the player ratings for last night's game then. I think if you start looking at how the flow of the game went, it was a frustrating draw at the end of the day. It was a game that saw United dominate for large spells, but not have that cutting edge, which is something we kind of identified in pre-season. Like, don't know if we've got enough goals in this team. That's kind of coming home to roost a little bit. We took control early in the first half. Thought Rashford and Xerxes in particular were causing some problems, and Ahmad were causing some problems for the Twente defence. We had some misses. Christian Eriksen gives us an absolute rocket in the 35th minute. It was a well-deserved goal, and in a period of pressure where United, probably even could have gone and got another one. Eriksen's, was it 4 games back-to-back he's played now, where you're thinking, the guy's in good form. And I think Eriksen's good form is testament to someone coming out of the team for a little bit. He didn't play a lot of football last year. And everyone thought, the guy's finished. Look at the resurgence of him. I think that there's a lot to learn for that, especially when it comes to like the sheer number of games Bruno's played. I think take a bit of time out, see what happens. I mean, we've seen it with a lot of players when they've took some time out. They come back and they look fantastic. I think there's a lesson in that, to be honest. Anyway, let's get into the player ratings. Let's get through this. So starting in goal with Onana, as always, and it was a relatively quiet night for him. Didn't really have any saves to make, except the goal. He's kind of given the front post a little bit, hedged his bets that they might want to go far side. They've knocked it front post. If he saves it and we keep a clean sheet and we go on and win the game probably, but it doesn't. I don't think it was a massive error, but, he has given the front post and it's a bit of a basic of goalkeeping in it. So 6 out of 10, can't really give him any more than that one. His passing was good. He had a couple of decent claims, but can't really be given up the front post in that sort of manner. Mazraoui, the new Dennis Irwin, man, just reliable, 7 out of 10. 6 clearances, 4 tackles. Was a little bit wayward with his passing for the first time. Early in the game especially, I don't know if it was trying to get used to playing alongside Maguire, trying to get used to playing alongside Ugarte. Was a little bit off of his passing, but still, great decision making, great covering. One of the better performers again on the night. Had that last man tackle, preventing counter attack. Just what a signing he's been. Really, really enjoying watching him play, and he's been a real asset to the team. 7 out of 10. Dalot. I'll give Dalot a 6.5 because I thought it was a bit of a mixed evening. He did okay defensively and offensively. 47 out of 52 passes, made 3 key passes, showing his ability to support United's attacking play, but his error did lead to a shot for Twente, which took away a little bit from some otherwise solid performances from him. Made a couple of clearances, did contribute with tackles and interceptions, but could have been a little bit sharper in some moments, I think. So he gets a 6.5. I've given Maguire a 7. And I was edging it, except for their goal. I think he had a big hand in their goal, as did Eriksen, disappointingly, because Eriksen was great otherwise. I've given Maguire a 7 because he had 6 clearances. He won 7 out of 9 aerial duels. He did block a shot. Or he did a decent... Well, yeah, he did block a shot, but he did decent sort of box defending. And he was overloaded quite frequently. They pushed a lot of men forward into the forward line. They really tried to build up in that 3-2-5, didn't they? He was a bit of a threat from set plays. He managed to get 2 shots on target, almost scoring from corners. His passing was relatively composed. I don't know if anyone clocked it last night, but I did see one of the complaints that I've had about his passing for a while, which is that he often passes the ball behind, especially when he's passing it out to the left. There was a couple of instances. Marcus was in space, and if he passes it to his front foot, he takes a positive forward touch and he continues an attack. You play it behind him and he has to stop the run to go and collect the ball. And there was a couple of times from there that then Marcus tried to hit a switch rather than dribbling. And he's better dribbling than he is hitting switches. But he was one of the better performers. Now, the mistake that he made for the goal, it was still preventable from this moment, but it put United in a position we didn't need to be in. So as Twente are breaking, United are +1. Maguire goes to ground when I don't think there's... On the halfway line, I don't think you need to go to ground. It was a poor decision. And he turns us from being +1 to basically giving Twente a 5-on-3. Because his action, I think it takes Martinez out as well. Now, Ugarte does really well to cover and go and get a tackle in. And then Eriksen loses it. So it's a little bit of a comedy of errors. But I just think it doesn't happen. If Maguire stays on his feet, it probably fizzles out just inside our half. So it was a bit of a mad one, that. So I knocked him half a point off for that. But otherwise, it was a pretty solid performance from him. Martinez, I'll give Martinez a 6.5. Solid defensive outing, 5 interceptions, 6 clearances, 4 duels won. He was effective in breaking up the Twente attacks. I don't know if you clocked as well, especially later on in the game, when United went to a bit of a back three, they was definitely trying to play in that 3-1-6 sort of shape. The one was Martinez standing in front of the defence. Very interesting position in that, actually. His passing was pretty clean, 65 out of 73 passes. He did help United build up from the back, defensively quite reliable, had a couple of decent big tackles, didn't offer a lot going forward. He did have that knockdown, which I thought Xerxes got on the end of. Since I've watched the game back, I've seen that it was one of the Twente players that nearly stuck it in the top bins, pulled out an unbelievable save from the goalkeeper really early in the game. 6.5 out of 10. I could probably argue for a 7, but I just feel like a 6.5 out of 10. Ugarte. Now, Ugarte put in a real strong defensive shift. He is blood and thunder, if anything else. He contributed 4 tackles, he won 6 out of 10 duels, he made 2 interceptions, and he had a mad high work rate. 91 touches he got on the ball. Now, his passing has to improve, I think, not by tons. He did display a bit of a decent range. 59 out of 73 passes, 81%. You would probably want that to be a tiny little bit higher. Not low. You're not demand. He's not a playmaker, so you don't need him to be 93, 94, 95% pass completion. But 81s, especially when we've got other players in the side that are losing the ball frequently, you kind of need that to be 4 or 5% higher, I think, and that'd be a fine place for that to sort of land, especially with the defensive contributions that he's putting. We had a couple of wayward passes early doors. He's not in a team for that. I was relatively impressed with him. Like there's a drive in him. There was one late in the game where he's ended up pressing a ball and winning a tackle, I think, putting it out for a goal kick that you just think nobody else in the United shirt would have even attempted to do that. So 6.5 out of 10. It's above average or slightly above average. Pretty ordinary performance. Nothing drastic. Lots to improve on. It's a fine sort of performance, I think. There's definitely going to be aspects to his game that frustrate, but I think there's going to be a lot of aspects of his game that really impress. I think especially in some of the bigger games, I think he'll be absolutely key. When United are going to dominate the ball, I'm not sure he's as required, dependent on how the opposition break, but in the bigger games, he'll be massive. Christian Eriksen. So, as we've already said, he makes one fudge, which ultimately results in a goal for FC Twente, which is not good. But apart from that, he scored the goal, but he's absolutely ran the show again. 43 out of 46 passes, 93%, 3 key passes. So key passes, a pass that's led to a shot. So he's creating chances, he's dictating play. Really, really influential performances. Most creative player, 7 crosses, 4 of them being accurate. Good movement in between the lines. Absolutely rolling back the years. And I think giving you a glimpse of what can happen if a player gets given a bit of a rest. Really, really impressed with this block of 4 games Christian Eriksen's playing. He's done really well. I'm giving him a 7 though because of the error leading to a goal, so I can't give him more than a 7, I don't think. Bruno, another frustrating night. Often giving a ball away with risky passes, and at times that it really causes a counter-attack to us as well. He lost possession 19 times again, only managed 1 key pass, which is a low return for a player that you're looking to be your creative influence. He did contribute relatively well defensively, got 4 clearances, involved in 7 duels. He won 7 duels out of 13. He went for 4 long balls, 3 of which were accurate. And I think the range he's got, I really think it's either time to rest him completely for a couple of weeks or start playing him a little bit deeper, because he does have the range and the work rate to be a real asset in midfield. I think that because of the shapes teams are playing, so many teams are playing the 3-2 kind of build-up at the moment, that they've got kind of 5 players to deal with your forward 4. So your wingers, your striker, and your number 10. That's a very common formation, so it's a very common sort of reaction to that, to block them in with 5 players. And I just think that the room isn't there for him. But I think if you pulled him back 10, 15 yard, played him into one of the deeper roles, push Eriksen into that role where, he's going to have just that little bit more refined kind of touch, that tweak might be enough for us. Because Bruno's energy typically is fantastic. I just think that whatever he's doing in and around the D at the moment isn't working. So something has to change. So 6 out of 10. Maybe even a 5.5. Actually, yeah, 5.5. Let's go 5.5. Diallo. Now, Diallo, I thought, shown some real flashes of genius. I mean, his pass completion's a joke, but I almost don't want him to have this high pass completion. 95% pass completion it was. 1 key pass, 1 shot blocked, worked hard off the ball, 4 tackles. Decision making in the final third I thought was pretty good. I think a little bit more confidence, a little bit more aggression, and I think he's going to start scoring. I thought Rashford and Ahmad were, in the first half especially, quite electric, and they was creating chances and they was beating their men and they was causing Twente all sorts of problems. He's got to get some productivity. Not on his own. Marcus does, Xerxes does, Bruno does. Basically, the entire forward line is letting United down at the moment because we're dominating games, we're limiting the opposition's chances, we're passing the ball real well, we're not putting the ball in the back of the net, and that's the thing that has to change. You can almost flip it the complete other way around and say, if we was winning with 32% possession, no one cares because you're winning. So it's almost like people aren't patient enough to go through the teething process of getting this new system and style and domination into us because they just want the wins. And we've had a couple of frustrating draws that should have been wins because we've played okay. We just don't have that goal scoring in us at the moment. And that's the issue with United. It was the issue in the Liverpool game, I felt, actually. Like, if we can keep a clean sheet, I feel like we can go and get a goal. But if an opposition scores, I don't know if we can score 2. And that's an issue for us at the moment. There's got to be more goals. I'm going to say 6.5 for Diallo. Rashford. Now, I thought Rashford was easily United's most dangerous outlet. Constantly getting into good positions. He completed all 5 of his dribbles. Just, in terms of, he dribbled it more than that, but this counts it as take-ons. He didn't have a shot on target. but his threat came in the ability to just drive at the FC Twente defence and cause them problems. He won 6 out of 6 of his duels, putting in the work without the ball. He created space with his teammates, with movement. He had 2 key passes, and he had a couple as well that didn't result in shots. There was the one where he's driven it across early and direct to Xerxes that Xerxes ends up losing before he gets a shot off. Doesn't count as a key pass, but it's absolutely a key pass. He's created a chance there. All Xerxes got to do is turn and bang it. So he doesn't get the credit for stuff that he's doing in terms of the stats. And there was a couple that flashed right across the box and no one got on the end of. I thought it was a real positive performance from Rashford, and I thought the tricks coming back into his game is a real plus. I think when he starts playing and showing that bag of tricks, you know that he's in good mental space. And he put on a showboat last night. Like, if Soccer AM was still alive, he's got 3 or 4 clips in there where he's absolutely embarrassed defenders that they'd be replaying with some mad fucking indie music you've never heard of. 7.5 out of 10 for Marcus. Xerxes, again, worked hard. Again, good passing, good link up. 14 out of 15 passes. Probably want him involved a little bit more. Only 1 shot on target. Did create 1 key pass. Again, another one that struggled to sort of get into the game in the second half. He only got 27 touches of the ball in the second half. Hold-up play was pretty effective early on, but his influence kind of faded as Twente grew into the match. I don't know if it was because did they know him a little bit because he's a recent Eredivisie player and just kind of knew how to lock him up a little bit, but he kind of faded a little bit as the focal point. It was a decent enough performance, certainly not one where you go drop him after that. Nowhere near that. It was just like a little bit meh, if anything. He's getting into some good areas. He's doing some good stuff. He's got to start putting the ball in the back of the net, man. Simple as that. Him, Rashford, Diallo, Garnacho when he comes on. Who I thought looked quite dangerous yesterday. I thought he was going to get an attempt, but or a goal for us, but he didn't manage it. All of those lads, those 4 or 5 players in the front line, they've got to start scoring us some goals because all of this comes with like real negative energy because we're not managing to get those wins. And we're not getting the wins because we're not scoring the goals. So 6.5 out of 10 for Xerxes, if I didn't say that already. Subs then, Mason Mount, 6 out of 10. Completed all of his passes, didn't really have time. 9 passes, didn't really have time to make any level of significant impact. Højlund, not really involved. He got 5 touches of the ball. Tried to press and offered a bit of fresh legs, but he's not there for that. He's there to put the ball in the back of the net. Garnacho, so 6 out of 10 for Mount and Højlund, and Garnacho 6.5 out of 10. He added a bit of energy and he looked like he could do something. Completed 1 cross, managed 3 dribbles, 1 successful. Didn't have a huge impact, but was lively. I think he's good coming off the bench. He comes on with a real sort of drive and tempo lift for us. So the manager, I thought his tactics was relatively effective for the first hour or so, and then the subs, whether it was the subs or the situation that we found ourselves in, we struggled to maintain the same level of control after Twente's equaliser, and they could have gone and got another one. The subs brought a bit of energy, but didn't really bring any sort of cutting edge or goal threat, really. And United's inability to score goals continues. And it continues to be an issue. Ten Hag's got to find a way to sustain attacking pressure, get more shots with more lethality, and we'll start to win games because all of the pieces of the puzzle are getting there in a way that they weren't last year. But it's a results-led business. So if you're not getting the wins, people are going to be mad. Despite the improvements across the board in the metrics, it's not enough. Got to get the wins. Anyway, please let me know your thoughts and your ratings and your scores in the comments below. And I will catch you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.